Welcome once again to Castrol Activ Champions and to one of the greats of the game, one of the ultimate champions of our times, dare I say of my time as well. When you saw Viv Richards walk out to the crease, you just knew you were in the midst of somebody special. It all started in India in 1974. We were all kids then and we all heard there's this young West Indies player called Viv Richards coming, and we straight away hated him because he took a brilliant catch, one for the ages, to get rid of Gavaskar in that first test in Bangalore. He didn't score too many runs. He was out to Chandrasekhar both times. And then through something that happens only in Indian cricket, Chandrasekhar was not played in the second test. He made 192, he established himself, went to the World Cup of 1975, didn't get a lot of runs, but 3 run-outs in that World Cup final was a game-changing effort. But it wasn't until 1976, or towards the tail end of the 1975 traumatic West Indies tour of Australia, that Viv Richards really came into his own. And then he went to England in 1976, having feasted himself on India's bowling earlier. And Tony Greig used the word grovel, the most unfortunate word used in the history of cricket. And Viv Richards said, "We'll see." And he made 829 runs in 4 test matches. If he'd played the 5th, who knows what would have happened? And suddenly the world said, now we are in the midst of an all-time great. In Packer cricket, he made 1,200 runs in 14 test matches. That was the highest form of cricket at the time. And Viv Richards was just ascending one peak after the other. That century in the final of the 1979 World Cup, following hundreds he made for Somerset. Every time he went to Lord's in a World Cup final, Viv Richards got runs. And then in 1984, Michael Holding had the best seat of all. He made a handful of runs, Michael Holding, as Viv Richards made 189 not out in that one-day international against England. He was something special right through that phase. And West Indies had Greenwich and Haynes. It was Viv Richards who was protecting the West Indies batting lineup. You might say he was protecting it by demolishing the opposition, but he was protecting it all right, much like Castrol Activ Activons protect your bike engine, whether running or off. Viv Richards averaged 47 in one-day internationals at a strike rate of 90. They didn't score at that strike rate in those days, and averaged 15 test cricket at a time when almost every side had world-class bowlers. He was just something else. And when Viv Richards came out to bat, I briefly alluded to it. There was that swagger when he came out to bat, those bloodshot eyes, he was sweating a bit. Bowlers would look at it and say, oh, the game was all right till this man came into bat. He knew he had that effect on the opposition, and he didn't prevent them from having that. Viv Richards changed games sometimes simply by walking in. He was that kind of player. There's an aura around him. I was lucky to have met him recently on India's tour of the West Indies, and there's that laughter about him. And he just laughs and says, what's happening to the game? He says, it's a simple game. See the ball, hit the ball. And I said, Viv, it's for you, not for everybody else. He says, no, man, see the ball, hit the ball. But there was much more to Viv Richards as well. He grew up in Antigua. In fact, played a World Cup qualifier, a football match for Antigua in 1974 as well. But he grew up completely aware of his roots and what it meant to be a black man in those days, and what it meant to the history of the black men. He spoke to me once very, very eloquently. He's not always the most eloquent speaker, but that day he spoke with a lot of passion about knowing his roots and where he came from. And I think I understood there why he made those 829 runs against England in 1976. He was a protector of where he came from. And it might seem a far-fetched comparison to make, but he did actually protect his roots, much like Castrol Activ protects your bike engine, whether it's running or off. You look for respect from your contemporaries when you're playing the game. Imran Khan once said that of all the batsmen he bowled to, Viv Richards stood apart because you didn't know what he was going to do to you. And Ian Botham famously said, I could never go to South Africa because I would not have been able to look my friend Viv Richards in the eye. That was the feeling he had amidst the cricket community. If you didn't see Viv Richards, you missed something very special. Try and get on and watch old videos if you can. But Viv Richards was something else. He was much more than just a champion. And so we're very happy to feature him as a Castrol Activ Champion.